evening, race fans. Welcome to the Core Racing Network. Tonight, we got round number 8 here for the Casual Sim Racers League GT3 series, and we are at the beautiful Sebring International. And I guess a bit of a homecoming for my co-broadcaster here. One of the closer tracks to Jimmy, but this is going to be a good one here. Again, round number 8. We're getting towards the end of this schedule. Again, this season only having 11 races in it. Granted, the last one is a 2-hour finale at Mosport, but we got quite a few good tracks coming up here. Obviously, Sebring tonight, Imola, Monza, and then the 2-hour finale at Mosport. So I'm looking forward to tonight and the rest of the schedule. Corland, we're joined in the booth by Jimmy Covert. Jimmy, we're certainly very familiar with Sebring. It is a fun track.
Yeah, I mean, we've won a few Sebring 12-hour events here. Multiple teams, multiple cars over here with the Core Racing. So definitely one of my favorites, especially getting a couple wins here. It's one of the tracks kind of excel at. The times here they're putting down are very nice there, with the 159.8 from Craig Jancic, a 200.07 from Christopher Hamilton. So just kind of right there on that edge. Looks like Chris is going with the back to the Porsche this week after the flops with the Ford. So we'll see if that Porsche can hang on here tonight with the Ford. I did get some testing out here with the Ford. I like it. It takes the curbs very well here. So if I had to take a little more time, I could have got down into those 201s or 20s myself. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. So it's definitely a car I would pick or choose at this track for future runs. But it's going to be a good one here. So, like I said, it's just nice and flat. It is a driver's track because of the there's not much banking, there's not much altitude change, there's some bumps if they run this track at a certain time, especially during the evening when the sun's going down, and a good old sunset turn. Definitely, if you have HDR on, you will be blinding yourself.
Yeah, it's not fun heading down in the sunset with the colors all cranked up like that. But yeah, Hamilton definitely needs something. He needs something to kind of turn around here as he's starting to slip a bit in the point standings. Now, looking at the points, he is currently sitting 17 points back of Craig Jancic. Again, there's still a few races left in the schedule, and you got the season finale that's worth more than the typical races. So there's still a chance, but he's going to need to really turn this around. He's going to need to string a couple wins together. He's going to need Jancic to falter a little bit, maybe get Reiner kind of up there in the mix, and if he wins, maybe have Reiner finish second. So at least there's a little bit of separation gap. But I mean, right away here tonight, looking at the qualifying right now, just about finishing up. Jancic, the only one in the sub 2-minute category, and just ahead of Hamilton by about a tenth and a half. So it's not going to be easy, and Jancic's certainly not going to roll over. He's looking to get another title under his belt. Over in the AM class, it is still a good size gap. Steve McLean not here last week, but Cesar Colon Torres is now in there tied for second place with McLean, and they are both 29 points back of Anthony Hutchinson. Hutchinson definitely had a bit of a rough race last week at Le Mans, but fought back a little bit to at least secure a little bit of points to bring in here tonight. But I mean, as you can see, the top guys in both are trying to run away here with these last few races remaining. But we are all finished with the qualifying session, and I think once we go official here, we'll get the starting order. There we go. Now finally official. So Jimmy, why don't you give us a rundown of tonight's starting order?
The rundown of tonight's order here is going to be 25 drivers on the docket, and the first on the pole is going to be Craig Jancic with Christopher Hamilton on the outside. Bryce Reiner, Devin Young there for the second row. Row number 3 is going to be Dan Morera with Tyler Terville, and then Rich Patrico back there in 7th. Anthony Hutchinson's in 8th. Herbert Pineda is back there in 9th. Christian Ortiz Torres is in 10th. Ian Southern is in 11th. Jim Dutton's in 12th. Frank Pisano's in 13th. Todd Torville's in 14th. Glenn Lazon is in 15th. Stephen Pless is in 16th. Brandon Potts is in 17th. Jason Potts is in 18th. Cesar Torres has been back there in 19th. Stephon Price in 20th. Jay Little in 21st, William Burrell in 22nd, John Espada in 23rd, and Stephen McLean there in 24th. And rounding out the top, or the 25 drivers, is going to be Paul Bailey. And I just need to take about maybe 5 minutes, Carl. I need to step aside and do something personal real quick, and I'll come back.
Yep, not a problem, as we'll get this thing ready and fired off till you get back here. So you see 25 drivers here on tap, and for the most part the pro drivers are up there at the top, as you got the top 7 spots covered up by the pro class drivers. And then you got Anthony Hutchinson again with another good qualifying effort up there in 8th place. Ian Southern, I think one of his better qualifying efforts, and out qualifying the fellow Canadian there, Jim Dutton, as they were in 11th and 12th respectively. But another good sized field out here, a lot of different car makes and manufacturers. The Jancic and Reiner teammates running the Ford here tonight with, as mentioned, Hamilton in that Porsche. So we'll see which one's got the power and which one can get it done here tonight. You would think Hamilton's going to want to try and get a good early jump and try and get that lead right away. But turn 1, you really have to be ready for it. I mean, you come out of Sunset, but you're fully on the front stretch when the green flag drops here. And Greg's going to have that inside line going into turn number 1. So if Hamilton's going to try and make it pass, he's going to have to brake deep and late and try and handle it on that outside. But Craig Jancic has been better than most on these starts, and even when Hamilton has the pole, it just seems like he never gets it to turn 1 and never easily lead that first lap. He's been able to wrangle the lead back a couple times from Jancic, but the starts by Jancic is really what's helped him out this season. I want to thank everyone in the viewing audience here tonight, and if you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Get you in touch with everything that CRN has to offer. I want to thank our sponsors here for the series as well, Martin BC and 40 Racewear, for everything that they do to help CSRL out there and help them with any kind of needs they have. I mean, they've been on board now. 40 Racewear's been on board for quite a few seasons now, and Jim Herrick does a fantastic job. Looks like, unfortunately, Jim not in the field here tonight. We do have Rich Petrucco as the 25th driver right now. Not sure if he's going to be starting from the pits or what the case is, but good to see Rich back out there in the field as well. 45 minutes on tap like usual, and we'll see how this thing plays out. We'll see if Hamilton can get the jump. We'll see if Hutchinson can get a little bit better start to this one as well. Heading through the middle section of this track right now, and you see right there kind of the technical part of this track. The S is kind of going back and forth, and this corner right here can be a little bit finicky just going through it, because you carry a lot more speed than you realize. But if you get it just a little bit wrong, you're off there into the dirt on the left-hand side, and that is absolutely full throttle through a couple little gentle left-hand corners here. But then you want to keep it tight on the second one. Keep it all the way to the left-hand side here to set yourself up with a nice wide entry into the final S section of the track. You want to get it all the way over here tight to the curbing. And then here you can really swing it out left. You can see right there, Craig Jancic kind of giving me an idea of what you can do going through there. It's not an off-track going out there, because you want to set up a good long run down at this backstretch and down towards Sunset Corner, which is the final corner here on the track. You see it on the map there. It's almost kind of 2/3 corners in one, but the whole complex there known as Sunset Corner. And it's because when you're driving down that backstretch, you're literally driving straight towards the sunset, which if you've ever gotten out here in the Sebring 12-hour, and hopefully if you've lasted that long, you'll see exactly what we're talking about and how blinding it can be. But pace car lights are out. We are getting ready for 45 minutes of racing here. Round at number 8 for CSRL. Craig Jancic, Chris Hamilton on the front row. Going to lead him to the green flag as Barney is ready. Hope everyone out there is as well, because we are racing at Sebring. Getting off into turn number 1, a good start from Jancic, but also a pretty good start here from Reiner. Already past Hamilton, now dives to the inside. Looks like he's going to fall in behind Jancic here into turn number 3 and through turn number 5. Here you see the cars weaving back and forth. Now down into the Gurney Bend as they make their way down to the hairpin for the first time. Looks like everybody making it through clean. One of the toughest corners here on the track is the hairpin. And it looks like just going a little defensive there. About Devin Young getting to the inside of Chris Hamilton, possibly, as they head off through Fangio. It is side by side, and Reiner now to the lead. And he's got Hamilton right behind him, trying to get on by as well, heading into Cunningham. And Hamilton's still right there. He'll come through the tower turn. It is Bryce Reiner in front. Hamilton and Jancic still side by side in the tower turn. Jancic's gonna get the edge. Hamilton tries the crossover, and he is now side by side on the other side, now on the outside, heading through Bishop Bend. And Hamilton's gonna have the inside, but just can't get the pass done. Now heading into Le Mans curve. He's gonna have the inside again. Can he get the drive out as they head down towards Sunset? Jancic is gonna have the draft. Can Hamilton stick to that inside and maybe, just maybe, get this pass done as Reiner trying to step out and step away here? But heading through, first time through Sunset, it is going to be Reiner in the lead. Chris Hamilton now on the inside here as he made the pass, but Jancic with the crossover is going to be on the outside for turn number 1. So Hamilton going to stay inside there in contact, and that is big impact there for Craig Jancic into the outside wall, and he had to tow back to pit lane. That is not what the points leader wanted to have happen for sure. We'll take a look and see what happened here again. Slow it down here and see maybe Hamilton clipped the wall and shot him out. And it might have been what the case was. We'll try and get a different angle here. But you see the hard impact here into the outside wall, completely destroying that car. I'll try and see it one more time here. Get a different angle. Try and go to the chopper view and see if Hamilton indeed caught the inside wall here, going through the corner. And you see, yep, a little bit of contact, whether it's netcode or not, but that netcode contact with Jancic sends him shooting off. And then again, just hard impact, and that could be the night for Jancic as you see him still in the pits. Bryce Reiner out to a 2-second lead now. Now what can he do? Can he hold off Chris Hamilton, as Hamilton maybe a new lease on life here for the points? Certainly a good opportunity to gain some points and at the very least make Jancic use a drop race for this one. But he would love to run down Reiner and wrangle away this lead. Meanwhile, back here in the AM class, it is Anthony Hutchinson getting a good enough start here to hang on to 6th place now as he's moved up a couple spots. Obviously, with Craig Jancic having the issue, Dan Marrero sliding back a little bit in the beginning. But he and Southern, a good start for him as well, as he is up to 7th position now, right behind Hutchinson for the lead in the AM class. Glenn Lazan is back there in 11th. He's 3rd in class, as we'll get the standings up here for everyone to see. But it is Reiner, Hamilton, Young, Torville, and Pineda for your top 5. And Reiner started up there in the top 5. He started in 5th place, slipped back a few positions at the start of this race, trying to work his way back up there. He's got Frank Pisano right behind him, kind of hurrying him up there into the hairpin for the first time, or not for the first time, for the 3rd time here. But all in all, a pretty good start for everybody in the field except for Craig Jancic. Looks like Rick Trucco not going to be taken to the track here tonight, so we'll have 24 cars to start the race, but looks like only 23 are going to finish, with Jansen most likely calling it a night on this one. Up front, a good last lap with a 2:53 for Bryce Reiner, and that is good enough to get in that 2-second lead and a bit of a cushion as they head down the backstretch here. One more time, Hamilton hanging out there real wide, trying his best to catch up to Reiner and at least get into the draft, get into an opportunity. You know, if Jancic is done for the night, he's probably right there in the ear of Reiner, letting him know what he's going to do, where he can get a little bit faster, what he can do differently to try and build that gap. But right now, he's got it exactly where he wants it. He's in the lead by 2 seconds. Hamilton has got Devin Young about a second behind him. Tyler Torville another half second behind. So top cars here hanging on pretty close right now. Anthony Hutchinson hanging on to a 1 second lead now, actually 1.5, stretching it out here over Ian Southern on that last lap. And a nice 2:80 lap, almost a second faster than Southern. So gonna keep his pace with the top 5 right now in the race. Back a little further in the field, we see John Espada in his usual BMW, the lone BMW out here in the field, running in 18th position as he's trying to run down Jay Little in front of him. Another good battle right behind him, as looks like William Burrell going to go to the outside here of Stephen Pless into the hairpin. And a very nice pass there for the Acura of Burrell as he's moved himself up to 19th position. Pless has got some more company right behind him as Stephen Price looking to try and get up there as well and trying to make a pass. Up at the front, Herbert Pineda currently in 5th place, but he's got the AM leader in the race and points leader Anthony Hutchinson right behind him in his Porsche, trying to move himself up into the top 5 here. Certainly would be a heck of an effort here for Hutchinson to bounce back from last week. Not only that, but to maybe get himself up there into the top 5 for a heck of a finish, but not too far behind him. Dan Herrera looking to gain one of his positions back here to the inside of Ian Southern into Sunset. And McLaren on McLaren, it is going to be Herrera getting back up to 7th place, so getting one of his spots back here. Chris Hamilton putting in the fastest lap of the race, that last lap with a 2:47 seconds. So gained about 0.4 of a second on Bryce Reiner that last time by. It is now down to 1.5 seconds at the front of this pack. And then another 1.5 back to Devin Young in 3rd. So Hamilton really putting the bit between his teeth. Will up on board with him and see what he sees here heading into the hairpin. Really not too far behind Reiner, trying again to catch up to him, get into that draft. Maybe, you know, doesn't want to kill the car too much to try and get up there and try and make a pass right away, but certainly if he can get up there, get behind, get the draft, and try and break away from everybody else, but also maybe save a little bit of fuel. As we've seen, fuel mileage and fuel consumption for this season has certainly varied and not exactly worked in the hands of Chris Hamilton. And you heard him really not happy about it for even these past couple of weeks, and just disgusted with the fuel calculators that he's been using and taking too much fuel. So hopefully he's got that all figured out and he can put these lap times down to try and get up there and maybe get himself finally another win. But Reiner's not going to give it up easy. He is starting to slip back into the clutches of Hamilton, losing a little bit of time again on this lap. We'll see how they take it through Sunset here. Hamilton drives it in there deep, and it's so tough getting that car to rotate around through Sunset. You see Hamilton actually slipping back couple tenths there through Sunset. And still going to gain about a tenth of a second on that lap. It's now down to 1.5 that time by. But you see how bouncy this track is, built on out of an old Air Force base, and it feels like it hasn't been paved since World War II. I mean, this thing is just so bumpy. You got concrete patches here and there, and you feel every little bump when you're in these cars. You're down there, you know, as low as you can go. And I mean, I feel like if I'm going to drive this track, I don't care what car it is, I'm going to need an air seat because this thing is so bumpy. I'm not going to be able to get out of the car when I'm done here. It's just going to destroy my back. But heck of a job here from these drivers on the start. We'll take a look back at John Espada again here as he's still trying to work his way around Jay Little, catching up now, heading down into the hairpin. Just not going to be close enough. Takes a little bit of a look in the inside, but going to fall back in line here in 18th. So nice goals battling up here at the front as Pisano up in 9th place as he's gained 4 spots from the start here. So a good start here from the 4 as he's right behind Ian Southern. He's got Christian Ortiz-Torres still right behind him. Not too far in front of these guys is Dan Herrera as well. So 7, 8, 9, 10 right here on your screen. Christian Ortiz, Glenn Lazan peeking there in the background. Shiny as always there with the mirror finish on that Mustang. And then certainly the exact opposite of a mirror paint scheme, and that is on Jim Dutton right there behind him as he's got the Unicorn Mustang running right there in that 12th position, currently 4th in the AM class. Look to the inside here from Ian Southern. He's going to back out and hang in there behind Dan Herrera for the time being. But the biggest moment that we've seen of this race, we'll take everyone back and take Jimmy back here as well on lap number 2 here. Heading into turn number 1, a slight little brush of the wall on the inside for Chris Hamilton sends him out into Jancic. And that ends the race for points leader Craig Jancic here, and a big opportunity for both Reiner and Hamilton to try and capitalize tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge move there between, you know, it shakes the points up. Obviously, you know, incidents happen, hard racing, these drivers been nothing but, you know, respectful to each other the entire season, Carl. So, you know, obviously, I'm sure, you know, whatever has happened, obviously apologies are going to be sent either way, and I'm sure Craig's understanding as well. So, I mean, a lot of good sportsmanship here in CSRL has been since the day that I started watching them race around these tracks, and you know, I would not be afraid to be out there racing around any of these drivers, as we had the opportunity before they started this season up. But it's definitely a lot of fun. So tough break for Jancic, and now for Hamilton and Reiner to kind of capitalize on that, and they'll be able to do so here tonight. So still plenty of a few races left though, so it's not going to throw Jancic out of the points chase here to the end.
No, certainly not. It's just it's an opportunity for Hamilton and Reiner to close in on the points. You know, even if this is a drop race for Jancic, it's certainly going to help these guys get a chance to reel him in a little bit. You know, clearly not going to really do anything. He's back out there on the track, but plenty far behind right now. As you see, he is about a minute 18 behind the next car on the track, that being Jay Little. So he may be able to make a few passes here before this thing ends, and maybe if some other cars end up having some issues and retiring, he'll be able to pick up a few. But I think either way, this is going to be a drop race for the 88s of Jancic, and we'll see where that shakes up the points and see how everything is going to play out. But Bryce Reiner has enjoyed this lead since the beginning of the race, and It was out to 2 seconds. It is not any longer. It is down to 5/10 of a second, half a second separating these two, even closer, as Hamilton has been running some very, very good times, picking off about 1/10 of a second per lap the last how many laps. And we'll take a look at those lap times if I can bring them up here. There we go, and you see the lap times there. We'll take away the iRacing logo for a second and let you guys see what the last few lap times look like. And you see green across the board as Hamilton has been running down Reiner, and they're coming up on some lap traffic here as well. And wouldn't you know it, it is the 88 of Craig Jancic, so he may still play a part in this thing before it's over, and hopefully it's not a bad part, and hopefully he understands that these guys are racing for the win, and he would love to be up there battling with them, I'm sure. But for the time being, he is back there in 23rd position, as it looks like Stephen Pless had some issues, and he is back there in 24th, last one running here. But close battle here for the lead as Hamilton closes it in, the closest he's been since the start of the race.
Yeah, it's not super easy to pass here at Sebring. You have to get your exits in check here, and obviously take that chance going into some of these tight corners and make the other person uncomfortable. So we've seen how Bryce has been doing very, very well getting into these braking zones of this Ford Mustang. Have to wait. He has to wait for that opportunity, and I think right now he could be in like kind of save mode too. Obviously he doesn't have Jancic on his bumper, and here's the opportunity for Chris to save a little bit of fuel, maybe make the pit stop a little better for later on, maybe save tires just a little bit. There's a lot of things you can do just kind of sitting back here behind that position. He's well in the spot here to make sure he's still in contention for the win here, and earn them a couple extra points here at the end. So definitely I want to count this fight out by no means, and Bryce has showed some great speed here as of late, and even getting the win.
Yeah, and it's kind of important to note what you just said. I mean, these guys can just battle each other. They don't have to worry about anybody else up there. Important fact of Craig Jancic, he's in front of them, but not for position, and they can just worry about battling each other. Now we'll have to worry about looking in the mirrors for a third car in the mix. So hopefully this ends up being a good battle, and it's really going to come down to those pit stops. So I mean, mentioned before, Chris Hamilton not exactly happy with his fuel calculator the last few races. So hopefully he's got that all cleared up, because it's going to be important here in this race, and clearly could end up being the determining factor for who's going to come out here on top, because he said it's so tough to pass here. Easiest place to pass, pit lane.
Yeah, pit lane is huge. Obviously, we've seen it time and time again, whether it's a road race or whether it's an oval race. Pit entry, pit execution, how much fuel you're taking. Are you going to take a tire? Chris Hamilton looking down to the inside here, and the hairpin doesn't have quite need to make it flashes his lights. Just maybe let him know, Bryce, that he's still there. He's coming for him, so definitely a challenge for the lead here at that very, very sharp corner.
Well, we got a second here. We're going to go ahead and crank these guys up as the best battle on the track here, and give everyone out there in Sierra Nation a little love to hear it. Sights and sounds here of the CSRL GT3 series as they are here at Sebring International for round number 8. And it's been a heck of a battle up front between Bryce Reiner and Chris Hamilton. We keep an eye on it here all through the Love to Hear segment, and it is not getting any wider here. And if you thought that Chris Hamilton wanted to catch up and try and use Reiner a little bit to try and draft and save some fuel, obviously you can see that's not the case. He is trying everything that he can to get around Reiner, and maybe it's because of that pit stop looming, and worried that he is not going to get as good a pit stop as Reiner has been getting this entire season, along with Jancic. So maybe he wants to get around Reiner and try and set sail here a little bit, but not able to do it so far. And now into the pits will come both of them. So we'll see who's going to come out here on top. Right behind him, Devin Young has been keeping them at bay as well. He is only 2 seconds behind coming into the pits, and not too far behind Tyler Torville as well. Anthony Hutchinson up to 3rd place as we got, looks like 2 cars left. We'll see if Espada and Bailey are the last ones left to make their pit stops, and we'll keep an eye here. Second car in line there is Chris Hamilton. That first one is the actual pace car. So the one with that 64 on the front is Hamilton, and it is going to be Reiner coming out first. And now, what can Reiner do in the second half of this race?
Now, I didn't see the Reiner or Chris Hamilton take any tires. I did see Young's car go up in the air, which would note that some sort of tires have been changed, even if it's just one. On that 15 of Devin Young, so I'd keep an eye out for that, as these two drivers, obviously Reiner and Hamilton, are battling, burning their stuff up pretty well. So I think they took about the same amount of fuel as the interval is about the same, but that new tire or new tires on Devin Young could come to play a big factor here in the next 15 months.
Well, it's going to be very interesting here, because it's cost him a couple seconds on the track, and he's fallen behind now by about 4 seconds behind the 2 leaders. So we'll see if that's going to play into his court towards the end of this race. Certainly going to have to make up some time right now. But you see Cesar Colon Torres trying to make up for a rough qualifying effort. He's now up to 15th position after making his pit stop, and everybody on the track has made their one and only pit stop. And Craig Jancic has moved up a couple more spots. He's just outside the top 20 right now, as he is in 21st position. But all eyes have been up front and looking for Bryce Reiner, as he's been blinking out a few times lately. Don't want any kind of internet gremlins to claim a victory from him. That would not be the way to kind of finish this one out here. But I've seen him blinking quite a bit here lately. I tried to hop on, use him as the other camera for a couple times, and it was not having it and blinking out. So keep your eyes here on Hamilton as he looks to try and maybe make the pass in the second half of this race.
There are a few other close battles going on as well. Back there in 6th with Anthony Hutchinson, trying to put a little pressure there on Herb Pineda, and then back there with Frank Pisano as well. So definitely some other drivers to kind of keep an eye on as they are trying to make their way to the field, get some passes on, and these battles are just continuing, around the field, pretty much everywhere. Unless somebody's been having a little bit of issues, but there's a pretty good, four decent battles, maybe 5 still on there. I see Brandon Potts even closing in on Torville.
And he's going to peek to the inside here of Todd Torville in turn number 1, and he will make the pass and move himself up into 13th place overall, 5th in the M class. Hutchison is your leader here, as we mentioned before, in the M class, looking to claim another victory here, and right now looking to run down and get himself a top 5 overall as well. Ian Southern, great qualifying effort, and got up there and was running behind Hutchison for a while, but now has fallen back by a decent amount here. He's about 4 seconds behind. He is almost 13 seconds behind Anthony Hutchinson, but still in 2nd place in the M class. Glenn Lizan has made his way around Jim Dutton in the Battle of Fords there, so he is now 2nd M class. But you see Jim Dutton not too far behind and then even Brandon Potts not too far behind those guys as well. So very close battling here. Craig Jancic looking to make another pass, and he's going to move past Jay Little here to move himself into the top 20. But I feel like unless he can make some major inroads, either way, this is going to be a drop race for the 88. But the question is, who is going to benefit the most from this thing? As Hamilton qualifying in second, so gets a little bit better points than Reiner does. But Reiner right now holds the top spot.
Yeah, and then you know, Chris has been chasing him for most of the race. Obviously, about 14 minutes or so still remaining here at Sebring. So probably another good 7 laps. So we'll see what Chris can dial up here to see if he can get around that number 24 Mustang.
Close as he's been since the pit stops there, as he closes right to the back bumper of Reiner. Still, just not enough to get up there and make a challenge just yet. But you see, we still got plenty of time left. I mean, there's a lot of races that seem like they buzz by really quickly here, and all of a sudden we look up and there's 5 minutes left. Here it seems like the clock is kind of going a little bit slower here, and maybe in the favor of Hamilton to try and get up here and make this pass, maybe give him a little bit more time, at least metaphorically speaking. But either way, we're 13 minutes plus a lap from the end of this race. It is Bryce Reiner, Chris Hamilton for the top 2 spots. Devin Young has slowly been chipping into the lead, as he was about 0.3 faster on that last lap in 3rd place. Been doing a good job in that Acura. Tyler Torville in 4th, Herbert Pineda in 5th. Then for the M class, it is Anthony Hutchinson leading the way. Ian Southern, Glenn Lazan, Jim Dutton, and Brandon Potts for your M class top 5. I want to thank everyone out there again for tuning in. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. We get you in touch with everything Sierra has to offer and help CSRL going to get their name out there and get them up there in that YouTube algorithm to showcase them, as they certainly deserve it. Red racing week in and week out in both classes. But also want to send a shout out and thank you to our series sponsors, 40 Racewear and Martin PC, as we round sunset one more time. It is 12 minutes left in this race. Still Reiner out front, but still only 0.4 back to Hamilton.
And then this battle here is the clock is winding down. And I think we're going to see this right to the end. Even if Chris can manage to get around Reiner, it's going to be it's still going to be close. I don't think Reiner's not going to just lay over. I don't think he's holding him up by that much, if any at all. So that is difficult here. I did kind of see Reiner taking a little more defensive lines, which allows Chris Hamilton to kind of keep on that back bumper just a little bit easier, because Chris is able to pretty much do whatever he wants with his car at the moment, put it wherever he has to try to maintain pace with Bryce, where Bryce he's kind of taking him just a little bit offensive, where he's hugging an inside corner maybe a little bit more, and not putting down the fastest laps, putting down good laps, but not the fastest laps, and definitely doing a great job. Yeah, right now the front 2 are running like 201s, and they're definitely more than capable of being in the 2 minutes. So you get to see how much that affects. Jancic continuing to have problems here tonight.
Yeah, and end up calling it a night. End up calling it a night after that one, as he pulled back in the pit, so he is going to finish back there in 23rd position. Watching this battle here, as Brandon Potts, once he got around Todd Torville, he set his sights on these two battling. He reeled them in there pretty quickly here, so maybe Brandon Potts got a little something under the hood of his Mustang as he tries to pass his fellow Mustangs here, Jim Dutton and Glenn Lazan in front, and try to move himself up into a podium spot again to get to talk to us one more time here, as he is certainly, it seems like he's driving a lot deeper into these braking zones than the 2 cars in front of me. You see him right there, right up to the back bumper now of Jim Dutton. But it's the drive out that he's kind of lacking because of that. He's maybe getting a little bit too deep and then not getting a good run out. But speaking of runs, a run again here for Hamilton. Looking to the outside here in turn number 3. Tries to rotate it back, but no passing opportunities right here.
Looks like you got a little bit loose there. Going through that corner, rear end stepped out just a little bit. So I think it's, you know, obviously it's safe to say that Chris is in that window of happening to manage Porsche's their lack of ability to sometimes transfer weight the way it needs to be. So you see that both cars are sliding around just a little bit, maybe getting on the gas just a little bit early. Gonna allow Christopher Hamilton to continue to be on that back bumper here as they continue to battle. Only about 9 minutes, 10 minutes remaining here at Sebring. It's going to be Bryce Reiner and Hamilton young for your pros, and then Hutchinson, Southern, and Luzon currently for your Hamilton.
It's kind of funny to say, but I feel like both of these drivers here are in a tough position because of you know, what happened to Craig Jansen earlier on in the race. They both, of course, want to go on and get the win. They both want to get max points here. They both want to be on top. But they also both know that this is a very, very big opportunity for them to reel in some points. And they don't want to just throw it away. They don't want to maybe get too aggressive. So, I mean, it's really interesting to see how this thing is actually going to play out. Will Hamilton get aggressive to try and make the pass on Reiner to try and get max points here for tonight? Will Reiner defend and you know, try and get the win, and along the same case, you know, kind of help his teammate out a little bit in the process? A lot could happen here, and it's under 10 minutes to go. We are down to 8 minutes plus a lap here at Sebring. It's been a heck of a good one so far. Best battle on the track right here is for the overall lead. Take a look back at a couple other battles as we got Frank Pisano trying to reel in Christian Ortiz Torres for 8th position. And then back in the M class, Brandon Potts has made the pass on Jim Dutton. We'll show you how that happened right here down in the hairpin. Again, late braking, dives to the inside, gets it to stick and rotate. And Brandon Potts up into, excuse me, 12th place overall and 4th in the M class.
Yeah, it's a tough move going down and breaking that late into that hairpin, and you know, the fact that he got that car to slow down and able to turn it without drifting way out is impressive. So good move there by Brandon Potts to make that position. Obviously on a roll here. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not quite sure what his Twitch name is, but if you're interested in seeing Brandon Potts over there up at his POV, kind of see how he tackles these races, he does stream over there on Twitch. I know there's a few others out here as well, and I would, you know, definitely don't mind giving a shout out to, you know, because a lot of them streamers over there, and you know, just like us here at CRN, they work hard in trying to make a environment, or you know, have people kind of cheer them on and ask them questions while they're driving. It's actually kind of I've tried doing the streaming while driving. It's one of the hardest things in the world. Obviously, it's like driving and reading your phone, and as I found out today, not everybody can do that. Just somebody rear-ended by a truck. So everybody was okay, but that car that hit me definitely did not drive away as I did in my pickup truck. So we'll see how these drivers can handle the pressure here and finish this thing out, as it's still Bryce Reiner over Christopher Hamilton by only a half a second.
I mean, maybe all things considered, maybe she was just trying to work on her late braking, and clearly missed her marks, missed her braking marker going into the stoplight or the stop sign.
It was more of an arc of brake because there was no stopping here. There you go. I mean, I'm glad it wasn't. I had passengers, but obviously all adults. Everybody was okay, and you know, one of my passengers looks back after we got hit, and they're like, "The car is smoking." So obviously, I pull off the road. I'm retired Navy. First thing that comes to mind is everybody okay, and you know, so I'm not one of those people that's gonna, you know, I don't have little kids in the car. I would be probably saying some choice words, but. First thing was just to make sure everybody was okay, and then after everybody was okay, just transfer information, let the insurance companies handle that stuff. They're just cars, man. So, but everybody was okay. Unfortunately, more than likely the Honda was totaled.
A little bit better time at the front right now for Reiner as he's gapped just a little bit, but he cannot shake Chris Hamilton at the front. But looking at a battle still back in the back half of the top 10, and that is Frank Misano trying to run down Christian Ortiz Torres. They both are running similar lap times. Last how many laps now? It's about 0.7 of a second separating Misano and Ortiz Torres for 8th and 9th position. Back a little bit further, Brandon Potts has now starting to reel in Glenn Lazan. This is for podium position here in the AM class. So can Brandon Potts get up there and get one more position? He is one of the biggest movers of the race here. He's up 5 spots from starting back there in 17th. John Espada has got the BMW up 5 spots as well, started back there in 23rd and up to 18th position. Biggest mover of the race started shotgun on the field, and that is Paul Bailey, as he's got the Jägermeister Porsche up 6 spots into the top 20 in 19th position. But at the front, again, is our biggest and best battle here right now. Very close, but Brandon Potts in every braking zone is just reeling in Glenn Lazan little by little. And we come across the line one more time. We are down to less than 5 minutes in this race. Can either of these battles produce a pass before we are done? Is this all set in stone, or we have some thrills left in Sebring before we head out of here?
Yeah, 5 minutes, roughly, probably 3 laps, depending on when these drivers, especially the leaders, cross that line. Has everybody made the right choice on fuel? Chris talked about it last week, and overfuel in the car, and the week before that, underfuel in the car. Has he got that down to a science here tonight to put him in, a good finish, or is he going to end up having to back off from Bryce Reiner? Did Bryce Reiner take enough fuel? So there's everything's going in there, and it all depends on how many laps are going to be remaining. I don't remember off the top of my head what the amount of fuel is for around here, but there is places to save. But now's not the time as you're trying to dig into a corner and get the best exit. So we're gonna see if these drivers can make it here. Obviously, we're at 3 minutes now. Should still be good to go.
I don't think we're going to see the
Marty's waving the white flag.
Just did drop the white flag at the last second there, so one more lap to go. And this could be exactly what Reiner needed here, as he's got one of the biggest leads he had since the pit stop. It is 0.6 of a second right now from first to second. Hamilton closes in a bit here, heading into the first little complex. This is where Hamilton's really put some gains in, heading down into the hairpin. Closes in again to 3.5 of a second. Not close enough to make a late lunge. He's got to keep it close, though, and maybe try and get a good rotation through here. Reiner goes a bit deep. Hamilton to the inside, peaks and nose. This is going to be a battle after all. Hamilton right behind, pushing him down. Going to try and look to the inside, and here comes the move from Hamilton. Dives down to the inside. Reiner going to give him just enough room. Hamilton's going to have to fall back here. Tries a bit of a crossover, but falls back in line, and this could be a little bit of what I was talking about. Neither driver wants to throw away a good points night here, but Hamilton may have just seen his last opportunity go by the wayside there as he got to the inside of Reiner. Could not make the pass. They'll head off now down into the final sets of corners here. Maybe one more opportunity if he wants to try and make a late dive here into Le Mans, but not close enough. He's got to get a good rotation, try and get a bit of a draft down the backstretch into Sunset. He gets a good run, closing in slightly, using the draft. Reiner trying to break it down into Sunset. I don't think it's going to be close enough unless he gets a good rotation through the corner. Reiner gets in there. Hamilton sends it deep, tries to get the rotation, but it's not going to be enough. Coming out of the Sunset corner, it is going to be Bryce Reiner getting the win here, and Chris Hamilton giving him some congratulations there. Heck of a battle from these two, as Hamilton's going to come home in second. Devin Young, a very good, respectable third place here tonight. Tyler Torville, great run for him. He's going to come home in fourth. Herbert Pineda rounding out the top five. Anthony Hutchinson comes just shy of the top five here, as he's going to come home in sixth place overall, but tops in the AM class here once again. Ian Southern out of Sunset. He's going to come home with a very well-deserved second place here in the AM class. And then Glenn Lazan is going to just barely hold off Brandon Potts here for the third and final spot on the podium here in the AM class. Potts and Dutton going to round out your top five. Heck of a run, and Jimmy, you came back kind of just in time to see this thing really come to a head.
Yeah, I mean, I had, like I said, I had to step out. Unfortunately, at the beginning there, wasn't able to see kind of what unfolded between the leaders, but definitely, from what I saw, Carl, is one heck of a race. Like always, it's always good to come back, and I'm sure I'll go and back myself and go back to CRN and get that replay, see what happened from the get-go, and how kind of what could be not the deciding factor, but an extreme factor, with the points leader dropping so far back. We're not talking like, just a spot or two. We're talking, from the lead all the way finishing back in 23rd. So not the night that Craig Jancic wanted, maybe having, that third place finish being dropped, and now having to take that third place finish and dropping this race here, as this would be his very obviously not satisfying race for Craig. But this track, it has always been, it's been fairly good to me, and but I have had races where it's not, where it's like it's just unforgiving, where I got the brakes too hot and I went through the corner, and next thing I know I'm driving through the grass. Just learning this track over and over again, depending on temperature and car and whatnot. And I have to say, the GT3s are fun to drive here. My best car here, though, by far, is the LMP2.
We are waiting for everyone to jump in the waiting room. I want to thank everyone out there again for tuning in. I want to thank our sponsors here, 40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 sim racing shoes, custom engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, while still providing the comfort needed for those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products, including original racing gloves for your feet. For Modern PC, they are focused on providing high-quality PCs, rigs, and components at an affordable price. Your investment in sim racing is exactly the same as racing with an actual car. They take that sim methodology at Martin, from the engine PC to the chassis rig, pedals, wheels, and shifter. You deserve components that match your desire to compete. Heck of a run from these drivers out here tonight, and a lot of them getting well-deserved interviews here, and checking to see if we got everybody in here. Looks like we got our AM class drivers in here, so we'll go ahead and start with the AM class here tonight, as they had some good battles excuse me, all the way to the end of the race. And we'll start it off with our third place finisher excuse me, here tonight, and if it will allow me to drag him in. There we go. So third place here tonight in the AM class, and 11th overall is going to be the 69 of Glenn Lazan. Glenn, you had a heck of a run here. It took you a little bit. You finally got around Jim Dutton, and it looked like a top three was kind of in the bag, and he had Ian Southern there close in front of you, and maybe, tantalizingly close, but you kind of had to worry about that mirror and Brandon Potts at the end.
Yeah, I think I was doing good up until the pit stop with keeping with Ian, and I think there was 2 or 3 other pros kind of in our group, and I was able to hang with them. And then I pit was pretty not great, but somehow I came out right behind Ian. But then probably 5 laps after pitting, my tires were pretty much shot. So it's like I could kind of stay close to him, and then it was a matter of just trying to stay away from Jim and Brandon back behind me.
I mean, this is a track that I'm sure just about everybody in the field has been on at some point or another. If you're a road racing guy, whether you've done the 12 hours of Sebring or not, I mean, it's a pretty popular track even in the iRacing schedules, which makes it a bit more difficult out here? I mean, you're going to be competing against guys that know how to handle this track, know what they got to do. Did you feel the pressure kind of amped up here a little bit tonight?
Kind of. Yeah, I qualified fairly well. I think better than what I normally do. So that kind of was good in a sense of like maybe I could avoid any trouble at the back. And then I think my teammate kind of got in a wreck in turn 1, but luckily he was the only one involved. I kind of looked like it from replays and stuff like that. So pretty much, I don't think it was too eventful, like crashing wise. Seemed pretty clean overall.
Yeah, I think for the most part, I mean, you guys started 24 cars on the track, and I think 22 or actually it looks like maybe 21 finished it. So I mean, you guys did a heck of a job out there. You did a heck of a job working your way up through the field, starting 15th, finishing in 11th overall. So congrats on your podium finish in the AM class here tonight. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Yeah, thanks. Man, I'll just give a shout out to Ian, Brandon, and Jim. All you guys raced really clean. It was pretty fun kind of battling with you guys all race. Looking forward to next week.
All right, buddy. Well, congrats again on the podium here tonight. We'll see you next week and see if we can talk to you again.
Thanks.
Third place finisher here in the AM class and 11th overall. It was a 69 of Glenn Lazan. Second in the AM class is going to be the 44 of Ian Southern.
Hey, and Jimmy and Carl on the booth. Copy. Ian, Jimmy, and Carl. Copy.
Yeah, Ian's here.
There we go. We got Ian on the line here, and heck, you had one heck of a battle going on with the just finishing here overall. Got yourself a top 10 and second place in the AM class. A lot of battling going on right behind you. So what was your worries, I guess, when it came down to the finish? And obviously you had enough to maintain that, but were you concerned at all that maybe they would catch up to you?
No, you know what, I wasn't. I wasn't concerned about it. They may have caught me, but I haven't been on my rig for like a month. So I was just joining in to have some fun. And surprisingly, I did pretty well.
It's always good when you take a break for a while and you come back, you sit down in your rig, and it just feels right. And that's what you did here tonight. You got yourself a great finish, and it showed out there. So, Sebring is Sebring one of those tracks where you got a lot of laps in?
Yes. Yeah, I've done a lot at Sebring. That's why I could compete tonight, is just because a lot of muscle memory. Yeah.
Definitely one of my favorite tracks as well. So, it's one of those tracks, obviously, as road racers. It's seems to be on the docket iRacing schedule quite often, giving us the opportunity to get out here and race. But you put a good show on tonight. You get yourself a second place. So from CRN, we want to say congratulations and give you a little bit of time for any shouts you might have on that car.
Well, thank you very much for that. I'll just do a shout out to Millennium Motorsport. That's my team. I haven't been around for a while, so sorry about that. But that's about it. Thank you very much.
We appreciate the shout outs, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
That is your second place finisher in the AM class, 10th overall. Get a nice little top 10 there is the 44 of Ian Southern. Top spot in the AM class here once again is going to be the 2 of Anthony Hutchinson. Anthony, you just miss out on the top 5. I know you got the win here in the AM class, but how much were you licking your chops trying to look and try and get yourself up there in that top 5?
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't trying. It is what it is. Herbert took just a tad bit less fuel than I did. We came out of pits and literally our cars were inside of each other, so I backed out to give him the right of way because he had the front. And at that point, I wasn't able to I could stay with him the whole race, but I wouldn't say that I was fast enough to actually try to make a move cleanly without causing either one of us any issues. And obviously it wasn't a battle for position, so to speak. It was more of a pride thing. So I chose to just stay behind, as I didn't have the speed to make the pass by him, but I did want it.
Well, it's got to feel good at least that you're not at Le Mans anymore. Obviously, last week wasn't exactly the best race of the season for you. You come back here and a heck of a bounce back, and you get the win here. And it's got to feel good to know that you kind of right away shook the cobwebs off.
Yes, definitely. Le Mans was by far not my best event. Luckily I didn't take anyone with me during all of my self-inflicted pain, but that was definitely not my strong track. I tried to practice it. Something just didn't feel well, and I couldn't push. I didn't have the speed. It showed from the very beginning, and I was happy when that race was over and I went to sleep. I was done.
I mean, like my co-commentator Jimmy always says, you paid for the whole track, so you were just using it, grass and all, last week. Certainly a little bit better here, keeping it on the pavement, and worked out a lot better. And just missing out in that top 5, but either way, you put a stomping to the rest of the AM class again, and maybe one step closer to your AM class championship this year. So congrats on the run here tonight. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Oh, definitely. I'd like to get a shout out first and foremost to my team members. I want to thank those guys. They're always there to support me. We do practice sessions on Monday, Tuesday, in preparation for these races. Without them, it would be rough showing up here on Wednesdays and being able to perform like I do. Next, I want to shout out to my wife. As always, thanks to her, I get to do this. She handles things in the house while I'm racing. She knows how much I love her and I appreciate her. I want to give a big shout out to my son, Mason. I've been leaving him out a couple of times, and he called me out on it last week, so I definitely want to make sure that, he gets a huge shout out tonight. And then my daughter, I know my father's watching tonight. I want to thank him for watching and supporting me and my mom. And, I guess if I missed anybody, here's your shout out as well.
All right, buddy. Well, keep it up. Congratulations again, and getting the win here in the AM class. We'll see if you can take one more step up there, get that top 5 before the end of the season. But either way, it's been a heck of a season so far. We'll see if you can finish it out in these last few races for the championship.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys putting us on and the broadcasting and everything that you guys do. We the racers truly do appreciate it, and thank you very much. Absolutely.
We appreciate you guys too. That is your top finisher here tonight in the AM class, 6th place overall, the 2 of Anthony Hutchinson. We'll switch now over to the pro class here, and a heck of a good run here for Devin Young, as he's going to bring home the 15 in 3rd place.
Hey, Devin, Jimmy and Carl, up in the booth, you copy?
Hey, yep, I'm here.
Hey, welcome to the booth. And one heck of a race there for you as you were trying to reel in Chris and Bryce, as they're speed demons out there. I think half the time they're aliens, but you were half alien here tonight as you were kind of clawing your way at those two as they were battling back and forth, trying to poke your nose in there to maybe stir it up just a little bit. The gap was down quite a ways, but then it seemed, I guess you decided to take a tire or two during your pit stop, which I think pushed you back just a little bit farther.
Yeah, I took 2 rears, and then I closed back in a little bit. But this track is interesting. It's obviously bumpy, and it was hot today, so I was pushing, and you can really only push for a couple laps. So I got back in, I think 2.6 or something seconds to Bryce, and then the tire just fell off a little bit, and just a couple turns, you lose a couple tenths here and there, and you're back to 3 point whatever, and then I was hoping that they would start battling again and it could bring me back into it, but wasn't meant to be.
Maybe not meant to be tonight, but obviously with Jancic having his issues early on, allowed you to kind of get up in there, one less person to that you need to get around, getting a good showing here for the number 15, and you looked good out there. Your lines were smooth. You looked fast. Just that little bit more that I think once you figure out what it is, you're going to be right in the battle there with Chris and Bryce as well. So I want to say congratulations on your 3rd place finish here tonight at Sebring, and give you some shout outs on that 15.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
So if you have anybody to shout out, go ahead.
Oh no, just you guys do a great job. It's always fun watching the race. These guys that run the league, they do a great job. It's actually a lot of fun, this league, and we're lucky to have it. It's there's not too much antics and all that kind of stuff that you see in other leagues. So just always enjoy Wednesday nights. So appreciate it.
I'm sure everybody appreciates that, and I know myself, if I wasn't up here in the booth, I'd be trying to mix it up with you all down the track. There's just so much fun, a lot of envy. There's a lot of clean, great racing out there. So again, congratulations on that 3rd place finish, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, man.
That is your third place finisher overall, and in the pro class of 15 at Devin Young. And for all those out there in in the race here, excuse me, tonight, I'll make sure I keep the leash on Jimmy and keep him up here as long as I can, keep him off the track from you guys. But second place here tonight is going to be the 64 of Chris Hamilton. Chris, I know it may be frustrating again, just coming up one spot short tonight. It's to Bryce Reiner. You had something happen in the beginning of the race that you kind of needed to have happen. You needed Craig to have a bad race. You needed to have a good race yourself to try and work your way back up into the standings. I know it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't malicious at all, the little bump into turn number one. But, I mean, at that point, did you kind of feel like, okay, this may be a chance for me to kind of really get it done here? It seemed like you really kind of put the bit between your teeth and reeled Reiner back in there and had a chance at this win.
Truth be told, before we get started, I owe a massive apology to Craig. I know we talked it out. I know we messaged here, but I want him to hear it from me. I'm 2 inches to the right. We make the corner. I hit the wall and I take him out. I want to beat him. He's freaking quick. I want to beat him fair and square, not like that. So, Craig, I'm sorry. I hit the wall and took you out. As far as after that, I almost didn't want to put my head down. I just kind of, that stung more than what I care to admit. That's all I was thinking about the whole race. Oh my God, I took Craig out. Oh my God, I took Craig out. I think at some point I blocked it all out and then put my head back down to try to catch Bryce, but it's all I could think about.
Well, you did just that. Once you did put your head back down, you reeled Bryce in. He was out there at about 2 seconds into the lead, but he chipped away, and then I thought maybe you'd kind of settle in behind him and use him to get yourself a little bit better fuel mileage, because we both know at this point you haven't exactly been too happy with the fuel calculators and the fuel mileage that you've been getting this season, but you weren't content. You started to try and look for passes immediately. Were you thinking that you had the pace, and given the kind of issues in pit lane and with the fuel that you were trying to get along past them and kind of check out a little bit before the stops?
That's what I wanted. I wanted to get by him and go. I reset everything for fuel, and I think it worked. So the fuel was the last thing that I was worried about. I just wanted to get around Bryce as quickly and as cleanly as possible while still thinking about Craig in the back of my mind. At that point, my tires were shot. I was trying to back up my corners a little bit so that way I would not be able to, and I tried a couple other things tonight that worked. So, but yeah, we'll go on to it. I am missing next week due to work, so I'm probably mathematically out of this. I'll still give it a best shot. I'll still put my best foot forward in the last 2 races of the season at Monza and Canadian Tire, but I will not be at Imola.
All right, buddy. Well, a heck of a run here tonight, and you made one heck of an effort to try and get the win, but one spot short here. Congrats on another good, solid finish, another second place here. Hopefully, we'll see in those last couple races, maybe getting up to that top spot. But either way, take some time to celebrate this one. And who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Shout out Craig one more time. I'm sorry, buddy. You race hard, you race clean. I want to beat you so bad, you have no idea. But he always has it clean, and he did not deserve that tonight. Huge shout out to Bryce. He ran a freaking great effort. Everyone else here at CSRL. Thanks to Park Sailor Cruise for the fun iRacing paint scheme. I'm definitely feeling better this time than last time. Finally, not the way I wanted it, but a good, decent finish. And thank you guys, as always, for the broadcast.
All right, buddy. Well, congrats again on your finish here tonight. We'll see you in a couple weeks, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again.
All right, here's to it.
That is your second place finisher here tonight, the 64 of Chris Hamilton. Last but not least is going to be our top spot here tonight, and that's going to be the 24 of Bryce Reiner.
Bryce, it's Jimmy Carl up in the booth. Copy.
Yeah, I got you guys.
Hey, man, one heck of a run, and man, you had your full here tonight. Obviously, you had an opportunity to capitalize on a great points night, and probably slinging you even closer to that the lead here for the championship, but definitely one heck of a battle for the last like 45 minutes with Christopher Hamilton. So I want to give you a shout out on that. That was just a spectacular to watch, and I'd pay real money to actually watch that stuff. So definitely great racing up front by y'all, and it just impresses me week in and week out. So one, I want to say congratulations on the great run, and two, kind of give you the opportunity to let us know on how your race was for you as you had your hands full.
I sure did, Jimmy. I had my hands full every single lap. I mean, from the start of the race, I mean, we're going into turn one, and Craig dives it in there like crazy. And I'm sitting there backing up my entry. All of a sudden, hole opens, so I go take it. And I'm getting to the point where I'm sideways, but like not fully sideways. So I try to gas it up and get by him, and we're side by side through the whole entire S's. And I think I get a pretty decent run out of the last one down the short chute. But me and Craig both looked up and we're like, oh my God, the track temp is like 90. So I never practiced a 90-degree temp. I never practiced anywhere close to that. And it finally got to about almost 100, and I was dying. So that's how I was holding off Chris. I mean, if I didn't hold him off, I knew he was faster. By no means was I the fastest person on the track tonight or the fastest car. The track temp really, really got me tonight. Just couldn't do really anything in the braking zones and turning. The front tires were shot. But overall, we fought to the end, and I gotta give a big shout out to Chris. We raced pretty intensely there, just because I think we knew that Craig was out of it. I feel bad for Craig as well. I hate that it happens. I know me and Chris keep saying it back and forth each week. It's like we want to beat Craig straight up. We always want to beat Craig. Just not like that, and it kind of stings a little bit for the both of us and Craig especially. But it's tough to see a competitor like that go out on lap 2. Just a small incident. But other than that, we move on, and that'll be his drop race, I think. And yeah, it was a fight though.
Yeah, definitely a fight, and then obviously you don't like to see your competitors go out by any means. Talk about I know me and Carl hold CSRL at the highest regards when it comes to sportsmanship and clean races and just getting around here, just enjoying ourselves watching and the battles back and forth and what you guys do here. And it's just, like I tell Carl, it's envy. Like I want to be out there racing too, because you just see the clean racing, the way everybody handles himself at a professional kind of manner, even if it is just a hobby. And you guys do such a great job up front, battling back and forth, and the way you guys, take responsibility if something happens. But racing stuff happens. It could be your computer going out, it could be an internet going out, it could be your wheel, whatever. We all have issues, and it's what they do when you have those issues. Craig by no means is down and out, as he's definitely a very stiff competitor, but you were the one that was able to kind of keep everything going here tonight. You held off Chris at a very difficult track. Have plenty of laps here myself, so know what it's like out there, especially a few of them corners, all them bumps and the high temperatures and all that stuff. But you did a great job out there. You made it look easy, whether you felt it in the car or not. Up here in the booth, it looked awesome. It was by far some of the most intense racing we've seen, by almost any league out there, and it's great to see. So we want to say congratulations and give you some time for any shouts you may have. And at number 24 here tonight.
Yeah, thank you. It was a battle and a half for sure. I know you touched on some things and all of our racing, sportsmanship, everything like that. So I don't take that lightly at all, and I race hard but respectfully as well. I know I threw a couple blocks here and there, but I hope nothing too egregious on Chris. I knew he was a little bit quicker, so I was just trying to do everything in my power to be able to hold them off there towards the end. But yeah, it's a tough track. I know I had the pace to win this just because the Sebring 12 hours, I did pull through the win for our team in the last 3 hours. So I had a little help there with the practice and everything like that. But I wasn't that fast tonight, but we took home the win, and we'll move on. Just again, want to give a shout out to you guys up in the booth, Carl, Jimmy. You guys do an awesome job each week for the race fans and family, friends, whoever wants to come out and watch this on their free time on a Wednesday night. It's awesome racing, like you said. Also want to give a shout out to the admins, Jim, Renan, Colin, Craig. They do an awesome job as well, keeping this league afloat and keeping the car count around 30, or 25 to 30, which is awesome as well. Again, want to give a shout out to Craig. He's going to come next week with heat. I could tell you that right away. He's coming out to Imola to win the race. I could tell you that. But we're going to do everything in our power to finish second to him or try to battle him for the win again. But also just Team Conti Sim Performance, Digital Sim Sports, Martin PC, and everybody who keeps this thing afloat.
Well, everybody, I'm sure, appreciates the shout outs, especially by the great showing that you got out there. You're definitely going to have your hands full in the next upcoming weeks, and wish you the best of luck. Again, congratulations, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
Yeah, thank you guys. You have a wonderful night.
You too.
That is your winner here tonight. The 24 of Bryce Reiner getting it done here. Just holding off Chris Hamilton. We talk about Imola next week. It's not just Imola. It's also rain. We got a little bit of forecast coming into play. 80% chance of rain next week. So as much as Craig wants to get back here and get back in the mix and put a stomping on these guys, not sure how much he's looking forward to this weather coming into to Italy next week. As we got the Italian swing here. We got Imola and then Monza for the next two races. Heck of a fun one here tonight. Hope everyone out there enjoyed it. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Get you in touch with everything that Siren has to offer. But for myself and Jimmy here from the Sebring International Raceway, we'll see you at the track.
Peace out.